What's happening, everybody? That's right. It's your boy. It's Monday. Ding, ding, ding. It is Monday. We are back. Welcome to everybody that's logging in from around the world. Whether it's your first time or you've been with us since day one. I am Stanley Doucette. I'm the host of Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. Let's get into it. Let's get it. Let's get it. So for everybody first, let me just say, all right, let me calm down. For everybody that's logged in for the first time, I truly want to say thank you. I think you're logging in for a very specific reason today. It's an amazing, amazing show. So I'm excited that you're here. Call somebody, text somebody, tell somebody, and let them know that you're on the air right now with Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. Regardless of where you're listening to around the world, you are right here with us, and I'm excited about it. For all of our returning family members, all of the family members that's been rocking with us every week for the last, what, 4 seasons, hey, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is us. Thank you for being with us on today as well. I have an exciting show for you guys. So let me do the commercials. Go to all of the social media platforms for Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. So first, go to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and yeah, listen, guys, do me a favor, follow your boy on our YouTube channel. I think we may be breaking 20. Come on, family. Come join us. You see some of the crazy faces I make, but we have a lot of fun. Come join us. Go to YouTube and look up Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. That's Let apostrophe S. Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. Like, subscribe, share, join, comment, send messages, all of that stuff. I just want you guys to be with us and just help us grow every single day. So, all right, we didn't finish all of the commercials. So we're in what is it? Part three of what are we talking about? Oh, yeah. Part three of I'm Worthy, right? Part three of I'm Worthy. So real talk. I mean, I'm cracking jokes. I know who we're talking about. But part three of I Am Worthy. We are in part three. The reason I'm doing another part, because I thought I was just going to be, okay, I'm good. We did two parts, I'm done. But I wanted to do this one because I'm real specific about it. By the way, did you guys do your homework from last week? Did you guys write down the stuff you needed to write down? Did you guys really take a look at it? So shout out to some people that hit me on the social media apps, some people that hit us on the YouTube channel, some people that's hit me up directly. Did you do your homework? If you don't know what the homework is, go back to part two. Matter of fact, start from part one. Listen to part one and listen to part two. Part two has some homework. And now we're on part three of I Am Worthy. But this subtopic for I Am Worthy today, it's close to home. And I made it an I statement. And the statement is I messed up. Yeah. I messed up. Now, a lot of times we'll look at stuff and when we mess up, we don't really fess up to it per se. We like most of us acknowledge it, but we don't really dig into that thing. I mean, we really don't dig into that thing. So let me give you a few of these little things I've pulled out and just share some of the stuff about I messed up. But then also go a little bit further into you messed up, but yeah, I got that but in there, but, and we'll go forward from there. So first one I want to talk about is communication. Boy, this is a big one for me. This is huge, huge for me. How many times have you guys messed up on communication? How many times have you messed up on communication? Here's what I mean. You could have been a little bit easier, or it could have been a little bit more stern, but not overbearing or overboard. Communication, it's how we, and I should have said effectively communicate, right? But in communication, I've messed up several times. Let me kind of give you some growth lessons on my own. Let me put myself out there, right? So there are several times you're talking about communicating and being upset, right? So you're communicating when you're upset. That communication It's a little bit different. It comes with a little bit different bite. It comes with a little bit different sauce. All right. So when you're upset, your communication may not be where you truly want it to be. But when you're communicating, you communicate. You're like, oh, communicate. Yeah, I communicated. And we know you communicated when you're communicating angrily or when you're upset, right? So here's two separate sides. So one, if I was upset with someone and I communicated, I was upset with them. So it was more like, barking. Why did you do this? And why did you do this? Listen, we supposed to and I'm just going in, right? I mean, family, I'm way in left field. I can't believe you did this and why this and why that. You know we had to be to X football stadium for 9 o'clock, and now you done trampled all up and down the street. You said you had to go get your hair fixed and go shop. I'm going in, right? And all I wanted to do is get to the stadium to take a tour. And that's it. The rest of the time was for you. And all I wanted to do, and I mean, I'm barking and I'm barking and I'm barking. Was I right? In a sense, yes. The person agreed to something and they didn't adhere to it. And my communication, when I was heated too, y'all. I mean, I was heated. The communication though was different. Not only she knew I was heated, but I was going in, right? So it was my sister. Well, I ain't gonna tell everybody. It just yeah, y'all just it wasn't my sister I was talking about, but let me just leave it there. And when I say was going in, I mean I was ooh. So, but I'm communicating and I'm communicating my displeasure, my frustration, my anger. We agreed to something, you didn't listen to me. And now you come back, you got all the stuff you wanted to do, but disregard the one thing I wanted to do. You just simply disregarded that. Even though I've been sharing with you, this is the one thing I wanted to do, you just disregarded. You just didn't come back. And when you came back, now we're scrambling to try to get there. How can you take a tour of a stadium in 10 minutes? All right. So scrambling to get there. The man at the door said, "No, we're closed." He said, "Yeah, I know it's whatever time it was, but it takes at least an hour to do the tour. So we don't take anybody after a certain time." I'm heated again. My sister looking at me, boy, she's like, ooh, ooh, I can feel a steam coming off of you. And you trying to get past it, but my communication was horrific. I mean, it was with bite, it was cutting people's throat, cutting their neck, their legs. It didn't matter. I had energy coming behind it. I mean, I had bass in my voice, everything, because I wanted them to feel the displeasure in what I was doing, but my communication was trash. So the reason I say it was trash is not that you happy that I didn't get a chance to go and tour the stadium. I'm not talking about that. I'm only talking about the communication. The question is, the first question to everybody, do you think my communication could have been better? I think it could have been better. Some people be like, no, they needed to know that. It's a way to get your point across without beating somebody headed. Now, I don't want to go into that, can go back to trauma and all of the other things we talked about before. But inside of that communication, in that bite, second question I want to ask is, why do you guys think we have bite when we go through some of those, I'll say, events, and you miss something you wanted to go to? Why do you think we have that bite? Is it because of trauma in the past? Is it because of something else? I don't know. But that's a question I want you to ask of yourself. Why do I have that much bark or that much bite in communicating when someone actually failed to do something? Now, when I say failed to do something, let me put some kind of color around it. I'm not talking about something that may be detrimental. You may be high up there. I'm not talking about something that can be harmful to somebody, etc. I'm talking about you wanted to go do something. You wanted to go visit something, go shopping, go see something, and you didn't get a chance to do it. Why was the communication bite so heavy? right? So ask that question, answer that question for yourself, not for me, but answer that question so you can actually, understand what it is that you're dealing with. Now, the other part of that, I was so proud of myself. A couple of days ago, I was just all excited with myself. I was on 55. I mean, I was 38 degrees hot, boy. Wait. But there's a difference. When we're talking about going and seeing and sightseeing and all of that stuff before, I mean, I was out there, right? This time I was angry, I was furious, I was heated, and I wanted to talk, and I wanted to talk to this person specifically about some things that we had already previously discussed, and wanted to conclude that conversation, if you will, right? And we had agreed that we would, and all of that stuff, and then all of a sudden it didn't happen. And then I'm not gonna go into details of all of what happened, but it didn't happen. I was angry. Ooh, I was angry. I mean, I was mad, 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 mad. Didn't sleep that night. Y'all know what it is when you tossing and turning, and then you up at night and you want to bite the pillow, right? Right. So the next morning when I talked to him, kind of share some things, and I took a deep breath. I started to literally go through why was I angry so the communication wouldn't go out as biting and literally trying to take somebody head off, right? And because I was there, like I wanted to like bite their neck off, but it didn't happen. So I went through and calmly started to think about, okay, I want to get this point across because this actually really hurt me. I mean, it really, really hurt me, right? So you go and you say, wow, that really hurt. But you also, if you start biting people's neck off and going in, they're not going to hear you. They're not even going to hear what you're saying because you already going in, pow, pow, pow. So it took me some time to, bring it down, to share with them, like, listen, I'm upset with you. Notice my language. I am upset with you, and then began to build a case around it, but not screaming and yelling. Now you're doing it and you're sharing, this is why, dot, 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 dot. But it's not, listen, I told you this. And da, 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 da. No, it was simply, this is why I'm upset and I'm hurt. It may be a point to where you're talking to someone and you need them for something, or you really need that person or whatever that space is, right? And you may say, listen, I needed you for this. I needed you to really pick up I don't know, the cheese from the store to go with the macaroni. But you didn't answer your phone. And you're calmly sharing, you upset, but you also want that person to understand that I'm also not trying to destroy your mental, right? To beat you up in that space. I'm sharing with you because I'm hurt. I'm sharing this out of the person that I really am. Listen, I'm extremely hurt. It's devastating. You didn't pick up this cheese from the grocery store, and you said you would, but you ignored it, and then kind of was like, okay, yeah, I'm hurt. Well, in doing that, it gives the other person an opportunity to really feel your authentic and true feelings. At the same time, it also shares with them, I'm sharing this because I'm hurt, but it's also not beating them up and trying to, throw them in the trash because they made a mistake. So that communication is vital in opening up that person's ear gates so they can understand where it is. And then they can possibly and hopefully the end result is they learning what they did and go from there. Now, in the communication, and we always talk about communication and communication and communication. A lot of times when we communicate, family, we communicate at our communication, but we don't communicate a lot of times for everybody to understand exactly what it is you're saying. So when you're upset, you have to be very careful in your communication that you're speaking clearly and precisely and thoroughly with a clear definition of what you're saying. Sometimes we are so upset, we cut sentences off. I'm guilty to it. I am absolutely guilty to it. I can have 17 things going on in my mind, and I'm skipping from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, but I never finish the sentence so the person that I'm talking to can actually hear what it is I'm saying. So when you add anger or upset or frustration onto that, that develops a whole an additional thing. So as we are learning, family, and as we're growing, yeah, I messed up with the communication before, but we're learning that in our communication we can still be a perfect and well-groomed person of articulation to individuals so they can understand exactly what it is you're saying, and send that message, right? So in this last thing, I was all upset, a couple of days ago, and just sharing and conversing with the person, and they got it. They absolutely got it. I know they did. And they, I just put it this way. I know they got it, and I know how they felt, right? Now, that being said, let me just add this is a little extra too. After we communicate with that, we have to learn how we messed up. We have to learn how to apologize. Now, that's to the people on the other end. You communicated and say how you felt. They have to learn how to authentically say what is I'm sorry, my bad, or whatever the words are that they're going to use, and share with you. So now it can also alleviate that frustration that you may have felt, not try to make an excuse. And this is also for us. When somebody say they're upset with us, we can't always just say, okay, my bad, and nonchalant, no energy there, no real feelings, none of that. We have to make sure that we say, you know what, that's my mistake, that's my bad. I'm sorry. I'm going to work on it. If it's something that it may be something you're growing in, and somebody's already past that level, but you're growing in that level, we have to make sure that when we're communicating, that we consistently work towards our communication being perfect, both whether you're sharing or whether you're receiving the communication. That is important. And it's going to alleviate a lot of tension along. Listen, there's nothing wrong with being upset. But why are we upset for 75 more days? And now you add other stuff onto other stuff onto other stuff. Have you ever thought about is the communication, both verbal and nonverbal communication? So you can say, oh, well, I was nice, but your energy was like, why are you talking to me? Who are you? What? Ugh. But you're like, oh, but I was nice. Girl, stop. Boy, stop. Stop, right? So we have to make sure in our communication we do it perfectly and then we do it articulately. Just because you messed up, that does not mean you're not worthy, because all of us have fallen short at something. Now, granted, I understand that there's some people out there. I know you guys have never fell short, but I'm talking about all of the other rest of us who've fallen short at things in our communication. We can do better. We absolutely can do better. All right. So the next one, let's talk about decision making. I had some bad decisions. We had some horrible decisions. Raise your hand if you. Ooh. Well, I'm sorry. I know everybody out here, y'all haven't made any bad decisions, but if you're in Toronto right now, you made a bad decision, raise your hand. Listen, if you're in Belgium and you made a bad decision, raise your hand. Listen, we've all made some bad decisions. Uh, let me just say this. This is kind of a continuation on part one and part two, but it was one of the stories I told. Um, I think it was part one. I don't know, but go back and look at both of them. How about that? And and this is a bad decision. A bad decision. Um, I was of age, so before we get into all of that, I was of age. I was drinking, and a bad decision was when I got home. I had promised my friend that the next day I would come and help him, and he had something going on, like a cookout or something by his mom and his dad's house. And I would promise to go and help them set up and do all of those other things. And that was great. Well, bad decision. Bad decision. Drinking the night before, hung out all, I don't say all night, but hung out a lot. Time I got home, There was that one time I prayed to the porcelain God. I said, never again I'll ever do this. And some of y'all know what I mean when I say praying to that porcelain God. If you don't know what it is, ask somebody. So here's my bad decision. I shared with my friend that I would come and do something. It was a bad decision to share that. I had great intentions on actually going to help set up, but the decision making was horrible because there's no way in the world after I had a night like I had, that decision making was just terrible. That, you know, good and well, you was not going to nobody's house in the summertime, set up a tent, and it was hot as you know what else hot. No, it was a bad decision. That just was a bad decision. It was a bad decision to come home that night. The way I was, well, at the time I didn't have Ubers. I should have called somebody to come get me because in the decision, now I'm making a joke and saying this, and thank God nothing happened to not just myself, but to anyone else. But in those decision makings, we have to look at all areas and all aspects. For whatever reason, this is popping in my head. Let me talk to the athletes that are out there. Middle school, high school, college, professional. Your decision making have to be on point. You can make one decision and mess up, which is okay. But in your decision making, we have to make sure we mitigate those decision making errors, right? Because you may get away one day and saying you was drinking and you were a little, you know, I'm not talking about middle school. I'm not talking about high school. I'm talking about professional and maybe some of the juniors and seniors in college that are of age to drink. And I'm just using drinking for whatever reason today. I don't know why. I just keep coming back to me. But make sure you have a designated driver. Make the right decision when you're going out and drinking. You can mess up and let's say get drunk or miss curfew. But don't mess up and, you know, drive while you're under the influence of alcohol. Or in some states in America where it's legal, under the influence of cannabis, right? We want to make sure as you're growing that our decision making is perfect. And if it's not perfect, it's close to perfect as it can come. But that we don't want that to take away your dream, your goal that you've been working for all your life. And one bad decision has literally pulled everything away from you, right? Here's another one. If you are about to get drafted or you're in the top whatever, and you have an immense amount of individuals recruiting you, or you know your draft stock is extremely high, I can't say not to do it, but some of the decisions about going maybe play basketball or hockey or racquetball or something, you can tweak a wrist or ankle or knee or worse than that, maybe tear a ligament or something. No, we don't want to do that, right? We want to make sure that our decision makers is on point to our direction in which we're going. So I'm sharing that because I know sometimes athletes, and I'm speaking as a former athlete, sometimes we make some decisions and nothing but the grace of God got us through. And yeah, nobody else knew or nobody else saw, but how many of us know someone or have heard of someone that made a bad decision and all he had to do was pick up the phone and call somebody to come and get him, but we didn't do that. And now the career is over, right? The whole career, the whole everything is over. So we want to make sure in our decision making is that it's perfect. It is absolutely perfect. All right. Now, just because you mess up on a decision making, thank God that you're here listening to it today, right now. Whatever your decision making was, thank God that you're listening to it today. Now, as we move forward, let's move forward. Let's make sure our decision making is on point. You mess up, let's acknowledge it, and let's make sure we keep working towards perfection of our decision making process. Because just because you mess up does not remove you from being worthy. And let me speak to that athlete or those athletes that may have messed up and may have, you know, removed their draft stock or bring their draft stock down from the first round to the fifth round. All right. You are still worthy. You still have that talent. You still have that goal, that gift that's in you to continue to be highly successful. Continue on that path. Don't give up and don't stop. Don't allow one mess up to make you stop or to break you. No, you are still worthy of every single thing that you've been through, and it's just making you stronger. Okay? All right. What's the next one? I don't know if I'm gonna get through all these. Time management. Time management. Time management. Time management. I could assure you we have a whole bunch of people on the line that have messed up in time management. One person I just said, I just know you're going to be late. Or if you're not late, you're going to be rolling in. If the meeting is at 2 o'clock, you're going to be rolling in at 1:59. Technically, you're not late, but boy, you coming in hot. And here's the thing, we talk about time management. It's going to make y'all smile, right? Raise your hand if you're not driving or operating something. You can. Raise your hand, right? If you woke up late or whatever it may be, and or you misread the email or the text message or what have you, and you have to be at the meeting for 2 o'clock, and you got a 15-minute drive normally, it's just 15 minutes down the street, right? And you wake up and it's like 1:30. And boy, you running out the door. I mean, you listen. You when you come back, you didn't you realize you kept the water still running in the sink. You realize your toothbrush is still spinning. You just ran out the door like everything fan. I mean, lights are still on. You realize you didn't lock your door. Just everything just on, right? Okay, it's all right. But remember, we're talking about time management. This is a good one. So you're running out. And then when you get in the car, you ride down the street, and of all days, you get caught by, let's say, a train passing, right? So now you got to sit and wait for the train to actually pass. Now you are in rare form. When you cussing up a storm, you fired up, you ready to go. You doing everything. The train passed, then somebody in front of you driving, put. Now you on top the horn, like, what are you doing? Because your time management, right? Now I'm saying you overslept or whatever, but let's say you didn't oversleep and you just kind of la and lee, and then you gonna leave out so you can be there exactly at 1:59. Now you stand, yeah, this is for a whole bunch of people out there. Now you standing on the horn because you have somebody putting down the street. You can't get around them. You can't go above them. You can't go under them. So now you just sitting there put, and you keep looking at that clock like, come on, get out the way. Come on, what are you doing? Don't be upset because of your poor time management that now you're upset with the man or the lady or whoever's in front of you putting down the street, and now you all upset because of it's you. This is your doing. You don't ever catch the actual what I call it. You don't ever catch the train, right? You never catch the train. You never catch some of these traffic lights, and all of a sudden, of all days, today you caught the traffic light. Then you catch the train, and then you catch the put, and now you mad. No, it's time management. Set your clocks, your alarms, or whatever it is that you have to do to make sure that you get there in ample amount of time, proper time. So when you get there, you're not stressed. You're in a good energy. You're in good space, whether it's a meeting, whether it's whatever you're doing, that you can fully receive and you can fully participate in what you or I are doing. But just because you don't have proper time management on that, listen, you should have scheduled enough time for you to drive from point A to point B. It don't matter if you had an accident. You still should have enough time to get to that point A to point B. But what happens is we mad, we upset, we frustrated, right? And it's like, no, work on your time management. Here's a question for you. Here's another part of homework. I think it's question 3. Is this: what can you do better to properly equip yourself with time management? What can you do better to properly equip yourself with time management? Whatever that answer is, write it down. That's your homework. I'm giving y'all some homework. Yeah, I know some of y'all. I get this from my counselor. Yep, I'm calling her out. Dr. Harder, this is your fault. I'm saying that in laughing, guys. we have a joke, because I always tell my guys I'm getting more homework, felt like I'm back in school. But in all seriousness, write these down to help us grow even greater. Because just because you messed up and you behind the putt putt does not mean you're worthy to fully participate in the meeting. All right. So let's do that. Attention to details. Oh, I messed this up I tell you this all the time. I could be speaking in a sentence and I'll call out September and we in January. What September? And everybody look like what? And then now I'm mad. No, 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 no. Pay attention to details. In your sentence structure, you said September and we're in January. All right. It's simple. Pay attention to details. How many of us have read contracts or didn't read contracts and then get upset when you fussing and calling off and cutting up, and then they come back and present the actual contract to you, and you like, I didn't see that. Well, it's been in here. You signed it. Pay attention to details. Pay attention to details. Yeah, you messed up. We understand. I've done it. I'm sure I'll do it again. I'm not trying to, but you know what I mean. So pay attention to details. Pay attention to details for those college students, for those high school students, middle school students. Pay attention to details. In the academies, police academy, fire academy, in the military, wherever you are in your training ground, pay attention to details. That's very, very important. When you're taking tests to be qualified for something, whether it's a nurse's exam or a law exam, pay attention to details. Don't overanalyze. Don't go into deep. Pay attention to details. All right. When you're paying attention to details, it's a lot less likely that you will mess up. But where we go wrong at is we summarize the question or we only read part of the question. And that's where we mess up. And then get upset and try to make it right. No, you messed this up. It clearly states 1 + 1 = what? And you thought it says 1 multiply 1 equals what? No, 1 times 1 is one thing, 1 + 1 is something else. Now you can't get upset with your math teacher because you wrote the wrong answer. No. So make sure we're paying attention to details. For the police officers that are out there, make sure you're paying attention to the details of where you are. For the firefighters, make sure you're paying attention to details, right? And I can go on and on and on. In sports, make sure you are paying attention to details. Details. Let's make sure we're paying attention to details, all right? I'm not gonna do another one on technical skills, but I don't really have nothing to tell y'all on technical skills. I messed up. The only thing I can say on technical skills, you didn't read the instructions. And you putting the table together and one leg on the top, the other, the flat surfaces in the middle, it's all jacked up. Pay attention to details, right? Go through everything so you can make sure you technically can put it together. All right. I wanted to get to these last couple, right? So financial management. Ooh, make sure you have a plan for the whole month, right? If you know I'm just using this as an example, your bills are $4,000 a month. Make sure you have 4,000 and let's say $4,100 in your account, right? To make sure it's all of it's covered. Now, some people go a little bit further and not only have the 4,100, but they know each day their bill is coming out. So they'll make sure that it's covered. And some people also go even further and look at the payment. How much is the bill? How much is this? How much is that? Because we understand sometimes things happen and things, not only say computers make mistakes, but there may be glitches or other things. And you may get this wild scenario bill. So you want to make sure you're paying attention to that. But in terms of the financial management, the reason I say $4,100 is because the 41 is to cover all of the bills for 4,000, didn't have $100 left over. Because in financial management, you want to make sure that you don't go into the negative in your bank account. You want to make sure that you're not being charged an enormous amount of fees because you accidentally didn't put 4,100. You only put 3,500 in there. No, you have to pay attention, not only on the financial management side. Once you get an allotment of monies, and I'm gonna use this, and it's been working beautifully. You want to make sure that you Number one, now this is my own way of how I'm looking at it. My first 10%, I tithe. That's me, Stanley. I'm not saying you have to tithe. You can give to a community center, you can give to nonprofits, you can give to somebody else. Hey, that's what you do, right? But I'm sharing with Stanley, my first 10% I tithe. If it's a $10 million check, I tithe that $1 million. That's what I do. I'm not saying that's what you have to do. I tied that $1 million. Now I hear some people say, "Hey, you gonna give all $1 million to your church? What I give $1 million to the ministry? I give it to some homeless. I give it to however I tithe, right? So that's that 10%. The next 10% is for me. I pay myself first. I pay myself right after I pay God. In my opinion, that's what I do. So that next 10%, then I do what I want to do with it. Now, that 10%, you can do whatever. I just said you can do whatever you like. Yeah. You can throw it out the window. You can go to the strip club. You can sit at the bar. You can decide you want to pay everybody's lunch in the cafeteria or in the restaurant. It is absolutely up to you because that's your 10%. You can do whatever it is that you want. That's proper financial management. Then the next part is now some people be like, oh, well, I will do another 10% for for savings or whatever it is. It's up to you, but this is mine. 10, 25% will go back into investing into business, right? Investments and different things to make sure mentally I'm there. I'm reading. I got things that I want to do. I want to do for myself personally. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that's there. So when you talk about investing in businesses, you're talking about, when I say investing in business, I'm not talking about just physically giving cash, but in addition to what are you reading? What are you studying? Are you going to conferences to better yourself? Now, that's my 25%. You may have a different take. You may take that 10% for tithes or giving to a nonprofit, 10% for yourself. You may take, 10% of that and say, I'm going to take this 10% and just stick it into my retirement or my retirement fund, however you have that set up. You may have another 10% for something else. So it's up to how you want to do it. But the point is, have an actual financial management plan so you will never go broke again. Athletes, please have a financial plan so you will never have to go broke again. Do not give to Pookie and Ray Ray and them. They've been on the side, on the corner, been waiting, and now they want to be in your entourage. No, it's good if you want to buy them lunch or dinner. That's cool. But they don't get to be in the middle of the money. No, they have to earn that right. And what I mean by earn, go to school for it, learn, be in a CPA, be under a certified public accountant or whatever it may be to help them understand. But it's not just, oh, because you my boy and you know how to add 1+1, so you can be over the finances. No, don't do that. Don't do that. And then the last part of the financial management is the 55%. That money's go to all your bills and all of those things to make sure that you're staying within your means. The whole point of all of this is making sure you live within your means. Now, the subtitle of the message is I messed up. Listen, yeah, I've been bankrupt before. You then borrowed money. You've been from pillar to post. Your account have been in the negative. You have tried to continue to keep your funds where they need to be. We can go on and on. I just say, whatever you like. Yeah, we can do it all. All of those things are true. They're absolutely true. Just because you messed up, though, does not mean you cannot get back on track. It doesn't. You messed up and you messed up. Let's say, I'll give you another one. You messed up your credit score. You messed up your credit. I won't say your credit score, but you messed up your credit. Well, you can still begin to work back and get on track to have all of that stuff in place to get back into the 700s, 800s, right? But if you don't have a financial plan or manage your finances properly and you messed up, but then you continue to do it, now that's on you. Just because you messed up in finances does not mean you're a bad person. You messed up once. Let's fix it and let's move forward. Just because you messed up in finances again does not mean you're a bad person because you're still worthy. It's a reason that you went through that. Learn from that reason and walk in your worthiness because now you can receive the abundance that you've been waiting for. That's what we're talking about. That's what all of us are waiting for or some of us have experienced it. And when you talk to them, every one of the individuals that you look up to have a financial management plan to make sure not only that they're secure for today and be able to have fun and do the things that they want to do, but also for the future, for their kids, their grandkids, their great grandkids, and so on and so on. So that's what we want to do. I want to talk about relationships. There's some other ones, but I just want to talk about relationships now. So yeah, I've messed up. So yeah, everybody, I don't care who you are, everybody should raise their hand and messed up in relationships. So let's first talk about family. How did you, I don't want to say how, but we've all messed up in relationships with our family. One way or another, we have messed up some kind of way with our family. Okay, regardless of what it is, let's fix it and begin to move forward in our relationships with our family. We've messed up with friends. We've messed up with friends. Even I said earlier, whether it's communication or something else, we've messed up with friends. Well, today is our day. I messed up. Let's fix it. Let's go back to our family members. Let's go back to our friends and say, hey, I messed up. I messed up. This my bad. This on me. Can we fix it? Let's fix it. Can we start over? Can we do what we do and go from there? I messed up. Hey, can we fix it? All right. Let's talk about colleagues. Now, y'all know good and well we didn't fuss at somebody at our place of employment, our business. We didn't been angry with them, right? But again, if you're wrong, let's fix it. If someone comes to you that have messed up, please be open-minded enough to hear what they're saying and begin to walk in that space of grace. All of us are not good. Now, if somebody did something detrimental to you, I'm working on that. But you can still say, you know what, they messed up. Okay, that does not mean now we're going to go back to having lunch together. That does not mean now we're going to go back to doing. No. It's just, accept their apology and then move accordingly. Romantic relationship. Ooh, this could be a whole podcast. This this can run out the rest of the year. So relationships, there's so many things that we can talk about in a relationship for I messed up, right? Yep. I know everybody that's just listening to me just now when I said I messed up when in regard to a relationship. I know all of y'all like, ooh, I ain't saying that. I ain't mess up. If they should have did that, I wouldn't have did that. Yeah, I get it. I understand. You messed up. But I want to go a little bit further. You messed up. First of all, did you forgive yourself? Ooh. Did you authentically and truly forgive yourself for what you may have done to create this situation? Number two, are you open for that person to converse with you? Ooh, to say, listen, I messed up. Can now you forgive me? Boy, that's a big one. Because some people have done some things. But it's up to you. But I'm saying all of this about I messed up with the relationships is this. It's ultimately up to you to make a decision on what you're going to do. And I get it. That part is that part. But what you can control is actually I made a mistake or they coming to you saying they made a mistake and share grace with them, right? And then you go accordingly. What it is you personally feel where you being led, that's what you do. The biggest thing I want to say in that is make sure you're being led, not being led by what your boy said and what your cousin and what your aunt and your uncle said, or what your girls, your fraternity brothers, your sorority sisters, none of them. Make sure you're being led yourself by what it is that you're supposed to do. Because as they say, pride comes before the fall. So make sure that you are not operating in that space and that you are absolutely going as hard as you can for the part where I messed up, my apology, and I'm working towards being a better me. When you do those things, it becomes beautiful because now you released all of that pressure, that burden of, oh my God, oh my God. No, you've said it, you've conversed with them, you've had that conversation, and now you move forward to, because see, big boys and big girls, they don't play those games. Children play games. Grown men and grown women, they don't play games. And unfortunately, right now in the world, we have a lot of grown people acting like children. No, 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 no. It's time now for us to stand up, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's about planning, whether it's about communication. It's time now for us to stand up. Just because you messed up does not mean you're not worthy. You are absolutely worthy. The reason I'm going through these exercises about you're worthy, because the more and more I look at, I don't want to say the news. I don't really look at the news that much, but the more and more like things that pop up on my phone, you'll hear these clips and you'll hear different things going on, and you hear things going on in the world. Hey, listen, you are most definitely worthy to receive every single thing you're supposed to receive right now. But you also have to realize that there are some things that, excuse me, that you have to work on yourself. And are you man enough? Or are you woman enough to work on those things when you said, I messed up? Because see, sometimes that get deep down in your claw and saying, I messed up. And then you hold yourself to a certain point, like, man, I messed up. And you walking around with this deep, deep pain for days, weeks, months, years. No, I'm gonna give you guys a scenario in terms of that. I'm gonna pull out one about you make something, you messed up, but then how communication walks into that, and it runs into deep, deep, deep feelings towards yourself. Y'all heard this statement, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Some of you guys have heard of that. Others may not have ever heard of that. But let me share with you why that statement, when I was younger, when I was in elementary school, used to say that a lot, right? Well, I absolutely hate that saying now, and I think it's absolutely the wrong thing to say. Is I don't remember when, but I remember in school. Keep in mind when we talked about sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Well, I was talking to a teacher and I messed up. So I asked her a question, and it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Can you share with me again? And she shared it with this attitude, right? And then she turned away, and then she said something about me that I heard, that it really got down deep in me. Because how can a teacher say a student is, whether it's crazy, it's dumb, they're stupid, they're just, who is this? And why is he even here? Or why is she even here? And the child heard it. In this case, I heard it. Remember, sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. And yet it took years and years to deal with somebody talking about me from a standpoint to hurt me. And when the teacher said that, and I just turned, I was like, wow, I just asked a question. I felt like the smallest person on the planet. So the question becomes, have you ever messed up and then inflicted pain upon somebody by your words? No, let's not do that. There are individuals out there that you may have said something to that truly hurt them, in a, whether you're in a relationship, it was in a disagreement, I don't want to say an argument, but was in a disagreement, friends, family, relationships, whether you're planning financially, what is communicate, regardless of what it is, can you go back and fix that? Because you may have created a door to hurt somebody that you never intended to, because you may be having a bad day. Can you go back and help fix that and really let that person know they are worthy? Can you really go back and talk to, whether it's that coach or that kid or whoever, and let them know that they are worthy? My words, I made a mistake. I messed up in communicating or sharing with you or conversing with my loved one, or my as I say, my boo or my man, or however you want to say it, and going back and say, I didn't mean to hurt you. Or are we so diabolical that we just want to destroy people? No, we're not. You are worthy. Just because you messed up on something does not mean we have to destroy other people. You are worthy. Apologize, make whatever it is that you have to do, and then move on. But move on with great energy, move on with purpose, move on with intentionality that I'm going to be that much better today than I was yesterday. Keep going, keep growing, keep pushing towards the stars where you belong. Don't stop because someone else said something dangerous to you. So I'm saying all of this, family, is to say what I went through when I was younger. I don't want anybody to go through those things. You are worthy. You are that important to Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette that we're taking our time to converse with you to let you know you are worthy. You are. I don't care about the wars and the rumors of wars and all of the crazy stuff going on. I don't care about what that first grade teacher did or that 12th grade teacher did to you. I don't care what happened when you were in Germany or when you were in Norway. I don't care. Listen, you are worthy. You have to keep that in mind that you're worthy. Just because you mess up the script, just because you mess up reading the Bible or the Quran, you are worthy. It doesn't matter. Remember, you are worthy. Forgive yourself, pick yourself up. In my world, pray about it, ask God for forgiveness, and keep pushing forward because you are worthy. Now, if somebody don't like it, tell them don't worry about it. I'm worthy. And leaving and closing and doing some homework tonight. When you talk about you are worthy, here's this just simple thing. This is number 5, I think. I messed up doing blank. Now, that's the homework. I messed up doing blank. And then put beside how you intend to fix it, how you have the solution to that. I messed up doing blank. Here's the solution, right? I messed up doing blank. So let's say I messed up reading the Bible. I'm going to fix it by reading the Bible more today or tomorrow or this week or this month or continue, whatever it may be, right? Do that. So that's your homework assignments. That's your homework assignment. I messed up doing this. This is the solution. Now, family, don't be smart and write one thing down and say, all right, I did the homework. No, write those things down because we are getting better. I fully believe that Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette, our audience, our family is out there, and there is an abundance of things that's coming our way, but we just want to make sure that we're good. We want to make sure that we're walking in that rightful place. We want to make sure that everything that's quote unquote dark, we're turning it over and we're walking in that rightful place. So I love you guys. I thank you guys for joining in and participating on this week's episode of Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. I love you guys. I'll see you guys next week. And guess what? We're going to have some more popping and locking. I can't wait to see you guys. Y'all have a powerful, powerful week. And until next week, I'll see you guys on the beaches of the world. God bless. I'm out. Peace.